Hey, what's up fellow 3Ders? 3D Theory here. And I just wanted to make a video about the final thoughts and review of the Creality CR-10 S5. I've had this for about 6 months now, and I'm not gonna lie, I've had a lot of issues with it. It's been a really big learning curve for me. And despite all of that, I still really like the machine. I'm really happy with the print results it finally gave me after fine-tuning it and really figuring out the ins and outs on how to use this thing. This massive printer has just been really cool. I got a Creality CR-10 Smart over here, and these things are considered pretty big printers. But compared to the CR-10 S5, let me give you an idea here. The CR-10 S5 is 500 cubed, 500 millimeters cubed. So 500 by 500 by 500. And look at this. It dwarfs the CR-10 Smart. You know, it makes it look small. This is actually considered a big printer, but look at this. So with that being said, I had to change the power supply. I got a new filament runout detector. I changed out the nozzle over here so that it's a 0.6 millimeter nozzle, not a 0.4. I had to change out the knobs, which I don't even know if I really needed to do that, but I did. They sent me a new one, and they sent me these nylon lock nuts, which were super helpful, ended up really being needed. It keeps the printer bed nice and sturdy. So if there were some pieces of advice that I would give myself before buying this printer in the future, let's say I can jump in Doc Brown's time machine, that DeLorean, and just go back 6 months. What would I tell myself? I would tell myself at that time I was considering to buy the CR-10 Max and the CR-10 S5. I would tell myself, first of all, get the CR-10 Max. That would have been, I think, probably the best move at that time. But at the same time, I don't want to discount this completely. This printer has really taught me a lot about bed leveling, particularly. The CR-10 Max would have been good, but I really wanted this one because it's literally one of the biggest printers you can get on the market for the price range you can get it for. And once you figure out how to use it and its in and outs, it really can give you the results that you're looking for. One of my biggest complaints about this machine is that it makes a ton of noise. And I'm used to quiet printers like this here Creality CR-10 Smart. I'm gonna put this back really quick. Yeah, that printer is really quiet. This printer, on the other hand, it makes noises, it makes techno music sometimes, and it really has a personality all on its own. And you know, there's one thing I want to tell you about if you get this machine. And hey, look, I'm gonna let you in on something here. I'm learning as I go along. So simple things that might seem very obvious to you all aren't obvious to me. So I'm learning. It's a learning journey. And I know that there's people out there that are on the same learning journey as me and may not know as much. So this is to you all who don't know as much. Number one, everyone says to make sure to shift your voltage to the right setting, but you have to know which setting you are. As far as I know, in Europe, they do 230 volts. As far as I know, in the US, United States of America, they do 115 volts. So you would get like a flathead screwdriver and just push this one way or the other, depending on where you are. I live in California, so I'm at 115 volts. When I turned this machine on and began using it, it was on 230 volts. And I don't know if that was the reason why my power supply burned out, as well as my heating chip, my bed heating chip that's in here. Both of them burnt up and were creating very toxic fumes for a while. And one day I came in and this thing was just flat out smoking. And if I hadn't come to check it out, it probably would have caught on fire and, you know, God knows what else. So I'm really glad that I caught it in time. So I switched both of those things out after they sent it to me, and it seemed to be working. Then I had issues with bed leveling. As you may know from my previous videos, I had a PEI sheet, which is now down here. Here's the magnetic piece, and there's the PEI sheet right there. I decided to take it off. What I had done initially was I had put it on the glass bed. And when I say put it, I'm referring to the magnetic sticker piece that comes with it. And then I put the PEI sheet on top. And I did that because the clearance, when Z was on 0, there's still clearance if I were to have taken off the glass bed and put the magnetic piece on the metal part underneath this glass bed and then put the PEI sheet on top. So in that case, I just used the glass bed as well. But I figured maybe it was too heavy, so I decided to painstakingly remove the magnetic pad off of the glass bed and put it onto the metal part of the bed, and then put the PEI sheet doing away with the glass bed. And that seemed to work. I was able to get a print going, and then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna use this printer the way it was intended. So I took off the magnetic piece, and I also took off the PEI sheet and decided to use it with the glass bed. Now, I've been getting really, really good prints ever since. And there's a video that I linked down in the description in some of these CR10 S5 videos that is a Creality YouTube video that tells you how to level the S5. And no matter how many times I tried leveling it, it wouldn't work. And it was very frustrating, and I cannot explain to you how annoying it was. Doing exactly what the video said, but it didn't work. So one day I was looking through some YouTube videos and I found a bed leveling YouTube video. I wish I remember which one it was, but I don't remember right now. But basically what you have to do is follow that video's step-by-step process. And once you're done, before you click auto bed leveling, click auto home again. And then it will take your nozzle back to the center. And remember, this is after you manually bed leveled and went through that video, which I'll put it down in the link in the description below. Then click auto home, because there's a step in there that tells you click bed leveling, so it can do its auto bed leveling function. Instead, click auto home and reset your Z axis back to 0, and then adjust your Z offset again, because after you level the bed, it will have a different height in its Z axis at the origin, right dead center. And once you get that right, again do a manual bed leveling, and again auto home, and again adjust the Z offset in the middle, or not the Z offset, the Z axis and the Z offset, and then do another bed leveling. And so you bed leveled it 3 times, and you got it as close to being accurate as possible. And if you can, get these nylon lock nuts right here. This thing right here. Once you're done with that, and you know that you've leveled the bed accurately, take off the glass bed, stick a Phillips screwdriver on that screw right there, and pull this bed out, holding that screw there with the Phillips. Get yourself that nylon lock nut, maybe a wrench as well, and holding that screw, turn it until you lock that nylon lock nut on the knob. Make sure the knob doesn't move, and make sure the screw doesn't move, because that'll throw your bed leveling off. And once that's done, you'll have perfect prints every time. But just note that after every print, you have to do auto bed leveling. With this machine, you have to do it. I was spoiled with this Creality CR-10 Smart. Let me turn these blinds here. I was spoiled with this Creality CR-10 Smart. This thing's a wonderful machine. I've had nothing but great experiences with this machine. I know other people have different opinions about it, but this thing is a great machine, especially after getting this one. This one really shined. in comparison to this one. Because this is a little bit older technology. This is the older models. This has no bed leveling knobs. And I never needed bed leveling knobs for this thing. So I didn't know how to bed level. And because also my first printer was a tiny monoprice Mini Delta V2 that also had auto bed leveling, I never had to deal with that sort of thing. So I ended up learning bed leveling on this massive monster beast, whatever you want to call it. I do love this machine now. It has a soft spot in my heart, and you know, it was a big challenge to get this thing working, and I hated it for 5 months. And yes, I hated it for 5 months. It slowed, I'll be honest, it slowed my YouTube channel down. I was unable to upload videos as fast as I wanted to. It slowed my projects down. Here's that Starkiller Helmet. And by the way, here's the swords I'm printing out. I'm using pink filament because I'm trying to get rid of it. But it really slowed everything down. I'd spend hours and days trying to fix it, and it didn't get fixed, and I had to wait for more parts to be sent in. And so it was a big hassle. This table here, if you do decide to get this table, know that you may need some extra space to put this somewhere else. I tried putting this power box here and really making it fit. You have to take off this screw and turn it this way, and you'll see the filament will go in like that at a sharp angle if you do just use this table here. And in some of my previous videos, I have the link either in the comments or in the description. I forget right now, but you'll be able to find it. So if you do decide to get this table, know that you would have to do that. And the table wobbles. It's not very sturdy. Not as sturdy as this workbench. This workbench is pretty darn sturdy. And know that this thing jerks really hard. So not only is this wobbly, but this jerks pretty hard. Way harder than that. This has some really jerky motions. Now, mine came with a filament runout detector. And note that there's like these weird white pasty things right here. You can check it out on my CR-10 S5 last video about it. I ended up using this all-purpose Gorilla Glue and putting on these two nuts there on both sides, because what happens is this filament, when it's at such a strong angle, or honestly, if it's not even at a strong angle, this filament, as it runs through the detector, the walls, which is made of this really cheap plastic, wear away. So if you really want to keep this filament runout detector for a long period of time, just make sure you put these metal parts, metal screws on here so that it doesn't wear away at it and make it not work. So they had to send me another one for that reason. But mine did come with this metal extruder, which is a darn good extruder. I really like it. And the only other mod I did to it was put this key card holder so that it keeps these tubes and wires up above the print. Nothing I would say is really make sure you're managing these cables well, because look at this. There is just a ton of cables. I ended up putting a zip tie right there, if you can see it. And look at all that. And I don't know if eventually, as this moves forward and backward, you can see this cable here. I put it underneath. Hopefully it's not too blurry there. But as it goes forward, it rubs up against that back bar, back and forth and back and forth. And hopefully over time, it doesn't wear out. So with all that being said, I printed out this here geometric pen cup that I had on my Etsy shop in the past. I took it off of it though. I used a 0.6 millimeter nozzle and I printed it right on there. I actually printed out two of these and it came out really nice. You can see the layer lines, and I think it has like wobble in there. I can't really tell. And I attribute that to this table. And this was a time where I hadn't figured out the bed leveling. So this bottom part, which was the raft, was so close to the bottom of the print that it fused on there and I just cannot get it off. But then I figured it out. I figured out what the issue was that was fusing the raft, and I made this really cool geometric, I call it the geometric stealth French countryside table. It's really a pedestal. And this thing is awesome. I really like this thing. But I printed it out on here. I printed out all of it on here. I 3D modeled it myself, and it's looking fantastic. I threw a little bit of PVC leather on there, faux leather, and man, it's cool. I really like it. You can put some cool stuff on there. It's really cool looking. I try to give it that stealth aesthetic where you see like stealth jets and stuff like that. Really cool angles. Everything is angular. All the facets are showing. And I thought it was really cool. So I 3D modeled this. And this is the crowning jewel of the S5. I printed it out on the S5. This thing took a couple of tries because I printed it out in parts. I printed out the tabletop, then this middle portion, then this bottom middle portion, and then the 3 legs all separately. And they all printed out fantastically. It's pretty decent print quality. I'm pretty happy with it. The bottom there was a little bit of a struggle to take off the raft and whatnot, so you can see all the struggle I went through to take it off. But yeah, this thing is really fun, really cool, and it looks fancy. I like it. So with all that being said, what do we got next? We got this Starkiller Helmet. This is a project that's been on hold ever since I've been having problems with the S5. And until I got it right, I didn't want to continue this project. So for whoever was waiting for this, it's continuing. It's not going to be at the quality I want it. I printed the top part actually on the Smart and the bottom part from here on down on the S5. And I have a video on what happened with this. But there's going to be a pretty big seam along here. So that's just gonna have to be the way it is with that. I'm still gonna finish it and get it done. Here's those knives that I intend on putting on the top of the head. This is actually the top part of the knife because the knives are so long. So I still need to print out the bottom parts of that. So there's that project there. And I got some really cool 3D printers coming your way. And you know what? I'll tell you what I have. Down here in an unopened box, I've got an Ender. I got an Ender-3 V2 Neo. So I'm going to add that to the arsenal. What I'm going to do is I'm most likely going to bring this Creality CR-10 S5 down at the bottom there. And you see 2 of our friends over there. Those are actually a Creality Hallet 1 resin printer, which I've been wanting to, get into, but haven't had a chance to. I've been really tied up with this here machine. And I really like FDM. I haven't really gotten into SLA, but I think in the near future we can get into the SLA. I'm putting that on the back burner though. And this is the UV box it comes with. It was a really great deal on Creality Official, so I went ahead and I got it, knowing that one day I'm going to get into this. But for the meantime, we're just going to leave it there. We're actually going to take it into the garage. And we have a really cool printer that's going to sit here on this table. And I'm going to show you that right now. So right here in the garage, I got the Creality CR6 Max. And that's going to replace the S5. And I'm really excited to open this thing. It's almost as big as the S5. This is 400 millimeters cubed in size. And the S5 is 500 millimeter cubed. So we got some really exciting stuff coming around the corner. Just wanted to give you guys an update. Get out of the YouTuber creator mode for a minute and just kind of talk to you 3Ders. Talk to my community. Know that there's some really cool stuff coming. This thing has been a real big issue, but we got it fixed. And this thing, I can print anything I want on this thing now. So it's been a really fun outcome. Let's say it that way. Well guys, if you find value in any of my videos, or if you find value in this video, please go ahead and subscribe, like. It's a really big help to this channel. And everybody who's been commenting, who's been being part of this community, It's been awesome. I love your guys' comments. I love the suggestions you guys give me. I love that my content gives you some value. And I just want to keep that going, continue this process, continue this community, grow it. Until next time, guys, peace, love, and joy.